When we talk about Rome conquering Europe, we often imagine unstoppable legions marching across forests and rivers, crushing tribes and building roads behind them. But the truth is more complex and more impressive. The Roman army didn't conquer Europe simply because it was stronger. It conquered because it was organized, disciplined, adaptable, and relentlessly strategic. At the heart of Rome's expansion was the military system of the Roman Republic and later the professionalized forces of the Roman Empire. For centuries, Rome refined warfare into something almost industrial. Victory wasn't accidental, it was engineered. In the early Republic, Rome was just one city among many in the Italian peninsula, surrounded by rivals like the Etruscans, Samnites, and Greek colonies in southern Italy. Rome had to fight for survival. Those early wars were brutal training grounds. Rome lost battles, it suffered humiliations, but it learned. Every defeat forced adaptation. One of Rome's earliest strengths was flexibility in formation. Unlike the rigid Greek phalanx, Roman legions developed into manipular formations, smaller, more flexible units that could maneuver on uneven terrain. This proved crucial in the hills and valleys of Italy, and later in the forests and riverlands of Europe. As Rome expanded beyond Italy, it faced new kinds of enemies. In Gaul, fierce tribal confederations. In Iberia, guerrilla-style resistance. In Britain, mobile war bands using chariots. Roman commanders didn't rely on one static method, they adjusted. The legion itself was a masterpiece of organization. A standard legion during the height of Rome's power contained around 5,000 soldiers. These were not temporary fighters called up in emergencies. Especially after the reforms of Gaius Marius in the late 2nd century BCE, Rome's army became professional. Soldiers enlisted for long terms, trained rigorously, and were equipped uniformly. Each legionary carried heavy gear, shield, helmet, short sword known as the gladius, javelins called pila, and armor. They marched long distances carrying their own equipment, earning the nickname Marius's mules. This mobility meant Roman forces could move quickly and sustain themselves. Discipline was uncompromising. Training was relentless. Soldiers practiced construction as much as combat. At the end of a day's march, they built fortified camps every single night. These camps followed precise layouts with trenches, walls, and designated streets. This habit protected them from surprise attacks and created order in unfamiliar territory. When Roman forces pushed into Gaul under commanders like Julius Caesar, they encountered vast tribal networks. Caesar's campaigns in the 1st century BCE were not just military operations, they were calculated displays of power. He divided rival tribes, formed temporary alliances, and struck decisively at coalitions. The famous siege of Alesia demonstrates Roman engineering brilliance. Facing the Gallic leader Vercingetorix, Caesar's army built not one, but two massive lines of fortifications, one to trap the enemy inside the city, and another to defend against reinforcements attacking from outside. It was a feat of coordination and endurance. Rome didn't just fight battles, it reshaped landscapes. Engineering was one of the Roman army's greatest weapons. When encountering rivers, they built bridges. When facing fortified cities, they constructed siege towers, ramps, and artillery. Ballistae and onagers hurled stones and bolts. Roman soldiers were trained builders, capable of creating infrastructure under pressure. Roads followed conquest. Once territory was subdued, Rome built durable roads linking forts, settlements, and supply depots. These roads allowed rapid troop movement and efficient communication. Conquest wasn't temporary, it was consolidated. But Rome did not rely solely on force. Another key to conquering Europe was integration. Defeated peoples were often offered terms. Some communities retained local autonomy in exchange for loyalty and tribute. Others were gradually granted citizenship. Rome understood the value of inclusion. Former enemies could become allies and even soldiers.
Auxiliary troops recruited from conquered regions became an essential part of the army. These auxiliaries provided skills the legions lacked: cavalry from Gaul, archers from the east, slingers from the Balearic Islands. After completing service, many auxiliaries received Roman citizenship. This policy tied local elites to Rome's success. Psychology also played a role. Rome cultivated a reputation for overwhelming retaliation. Rebellions were met with decisive force. When resistance erupted in Britain under Queen Boudica, Roman forces eventually crushed the uprising with brutal efficiency. The message was clear: resistance might win a battle, but Rome would return stronger. At the same time, Rome projected stability. Forts along frontiers like the Rhine and Danube signaled permanence. Massive walls, such as Hadrian's Wall in Britain, marked boundaries and reinforced authority. Logistics made all of this possible. Roman armies maintained supply lines across vast distances. Grain, weapons, reinforcements all moved with remarkable coordination. This logistical capacity allowed Rome to sustain campaigns far from Italy. Many European tribes were formidable fighters, but they lacked the centralized organization and supply systems that Rome perfected. Leadership mattered as well. Commanders were often experienced politicians and strategists. Success in battle brought prestige in Rome's political system, incentivizing bold campaigns. While ambition sometimes led to reckless decisions, it also fueled expansion. Over centuries, Rome absorbed most of Western and Southern Europe. Spain, Gaul, Britain, parts of Germany, the Balkans, all fell under Roman influence. Each conquest was different. Some were swift, others took decades, but the pattern remained: defeat opposition, secure territory, build infrastructure, integrate populations. But conquest did not mean cultural erasure. Local traditions often persisted. Latin spread, but so did hybrid identities. Roman law, architecture, and urban planning blended with regional customs. The army itself became increasingly diverse as recruits came from across the empire. By the height of its power, Rome's military machine was not purely Italian, it was European. Soldiers from Spain stood beside those from Gaul and the Balkans. The army that conquered Europe eventually became a reflection of it. In the end, the Roman army conquered Europe not because it was invincible, but because it combined discipline, engineering, adaptability, and political strategy in ways few rivals could match. It built camps every night. It turned soldiers into builders. It punished rebellion harshly, but rewarded loyalty generously. It adapted tactics to terrain. It sustained campaigns through logistics. It transformed conquest into governance. The forests of Gaul, the cliffs of Britain, the valleys of Iberia all witnessed the steady, methodical advance of Rome's legions. And long after the legions withdrew, the roads remained, the cities remained, the legal concepts remained. The very idea of Europe would later draw from foundations laid by soldiers who marched under Roman standards. The sword opened the door, but it was discipline, organization, and vision that allowed Rome to walk through and stay.